That evening, the rain fell so hard it blurred the city lights into streaks of gold and gray. Inside the grand ballroom of the Crestmont Hotel, laughter and music filled the air a world away from the chaos outside. But near the entrance, a young woman named Lena stood frozen, clutching her small, worn purse. Her heart was pounding. She was a waitress, and the last person anyone expected to see at a high-society charity gala. She wasn't supposed to be there. Her ex-boyfriend Ethan was being honored, and her mother had begged her to go to prove she'd moved on. But as Lena stared through the glass doors, she saw him. Ethan laughing arm in arm with his new fiancée, a polished socialite in a sparkling silver gown. Lena's resolve just shattered. I can't do this, she thought. She turned to leave, her heels slipping on the wet marble, and that's when she collided with someone. A tall man steadied her instantly, his grip firm but gentle. Whoa, careful there. Lena looked up and forgot how to breathe. He had piercing blue eyes that seemed to see right through her, and a calm confidence that made him stand out. I'm so sorry, she stammered. I wasn't looking. It's all right, he said, his voice smooth and deep. Are you okay? Just then she heard Ethan's laugh again, loud and familiar. Panic surged inside her. Before she could stop herself, the words tumbled out. Can you pretend to be my date for tonight? The stranger blinked. Excuse me? Please, Lena whispered, her voice cracking. Just for tonight. My ex is in there and I can't let him think I came alone. I'll explain later, I promise. For a long moment, the stranger was silent. Then, to her shock, he smiled slightly, extended his arm and said, Lead the way. The ballroom fell silent as they entered. Lena felt eyes turning toward them, whispers rippling through the crowd. Ethan's expression froze mid-laugh when he saw her and the handsome man by her side. Lena, Ethan said, his tone laced with disbelief. You brought someone? Yes, Lena said, forcing a smile. This is Daniel, the stranger interrupted, shaking Ethan's hand with cool confidence. Daniel Reid. Ethan's eyes widened. Reid, as in Reid Enterprises. Daniel gave a polite nod. The same. A murmur spread through the room. The Daniel Reid, CEO of one of the country's largest tech firms. The man she'd asked to pretend for her was a billionaire. Ethan's fiancée looked like she'd just swallowed a lemon. Oh, she said with a tight smile. Well, it's nice to meet you, Mr. Reid. The pleasure's mine, Daniel replied coolly. Then he turned to Lena, his gaze softening. Shall we dance? Under the glow of the chandeliers, they moved across the floor. Lena's nerves began to melt as Daniel led effortlessly. You really didn't know who I was, did you? He murmured. She blushed. If I had, I wouldn't have had the courage to ask. He chuckled. Good, I'm glad you didn't. As the music swelled, something unspoken passed between them. For the first time that night, Lena felt truly seen. After the dance, they shared a table, laughing quietly. Daniel never once acted superior. He listened when she spoke and noticed when her hands trembled, distracting her with gentle humor. By the end of the night, her cheeks ached from smiling. When the gala ended, they stepped outside. The rain had stopped, leaving the city glistening. Thank you, Lena said softly. You saved me tonight. Daniel looked at her. You don't need saving, Lena. You just needed someone to remind you that you've already moved on. She smiled faintly still. Oh, you dinner. Or at least coffee. I'll take coffee, he said, his eyes warm. Tomorrow? Tomorrow. The next day, they met at a small cafe near her work. No tuxedos, no fancy gowns. Daniel learned Lena worked 2 jobs to support her mother and dreamed of opening a bakery. Lena learned that behind his wealth was a man who de-built his empire from scratch and had grown tired of people pretending around him. With her, he didn't have to. Weeks turned into months. Coffee turned into dinners, and laughter turned into something neither could deny. But happiness always comes with a test. One afternoon, Ethan showed up at her cafe. Oh, it's true, he sneered. You think you can fit into his world? You're just a waitress, Lena. Her hands trembled. But before she could respond, Daniel walked in. She's not just anything, he said firmly. She's stronger than anyone I know. She's the reason I stopped pretending my life was enough. Ethan mumbled something and left, defeated. Daniel turned to Lena. You don't ever have to prove your worth to anyone, not even me. She blinked back tears. You make me believe that. A year later, Lena stood in front of her very own bakery sweet beginnings. Daniel stood proudly beside her. Remember the night you asked me to pretend? He whispered, how could I forget? She laughed. It was supposed to be fake. Daniel smiled, pulling her close. Best act of my life. She looked into his eyes and whispered, no more pretending. No more pretending. They kissed as the crowd clapped, two souls who met by accident and found the courage to be real. Sometimes the most unexpected people walk into our lives when we're at our weakest, not to fix us, but to remind us we were never broken. Love often begins with honesty, kindness, and the courage to take one small chance, even if it starts with pretending. Thanks for watching today's story. If it touched your heart, please give us a like. And hit that subscribe button for more videos just like this one. We'll see you in the next one.